what it looks like to put an audience in a space in a non-traditional way. And something I'm really passionate about is postmodern theater. So I try to combine these experimental elements and then make them for the general public, not for an artist-based public.
Right.
So it's something that someone who's never seen a show could go watch and be comfortable watching and not feel like they can't understand what's happening. But then to make that even more accessible and to really open it up, all the learning styles are included in the show. So we have different ends for everyone, no matter how you process and how you approach a very emotionally charged topic, that there's a different way for you to process. So it humanizes the entire theatrical experience, and it really takes the audience into consideration of what this journey is going to look like for you. So in some ways, it's themed entertainment. I think of a show almost as like the same experience as if you're going to an amusement park, where every moment is thought out for you and how your experience is going to be and what are you seeing and what are you smelling and what was your experience from the moment you enter the door to the moment you leave. So it's very much a cultivated experience for the audience to go on together.
I'll ask this now. I think I know the answer, but with all the things that are going around and all the things you're doing and the writing and the directing, are you in the play?
I am.
Okay, and who do you play?
I play Sophia.
Okay, you do play Sophia.
I do.
And which Sophia do you play?
So there's the two Sophias, like you mentioned,
Right.
the one who already took her life before the show began, so she's in the audience, and then there's the one reliving her memories on the stage. So
Okay.
I played the stage Sophia.
Yeah. So you mentioned Sophia as somebody who seems like she has it together, but in the end, obviously, she doesn't. How difficult is that as somebody who you say, I mean, this is what actresses do,
right?
And you refer to it as actresses, so I'm not being, a lot of people just insist on the actor now, but anyway, how that must be a challenge for, a happy, well-adjusted person to be someone who has underlying darkness in their life that seems superficially bright.
Well, one way I've approached it is a big reason why I think like I was saying, on most days I'm okay, is because I was given a lot of coping mechanisms and ways to handle emotions that come up. So I had a large emotional education due to the arts. That's my outlet. That's why I wrote a play, instead of when these thoughts are in my head, that's why I was able to channel into that. And one of the compelling factors or compounding factors of this whole epidemic is teens and young adults with these heightened emotions without the tools to cope with them. So I imagine myself often in those situations that I've been in without the net to catch me, without the outlets to go to. So it's kind of just restructuring my own memories in some ways.
Nap the Play is the short of it. I could take a nap, but killing myself would be more productive. That title just resonates so well because, sometimes when somebody's taking a nap, they are sort of trying to get away a little bit from the stresses of the day or whatever, but then again, the problems are still going to be lurking, and if you take your life, then the problems aren't there anymore.
I think the thing that I try to address always is because a lot of times people talk about suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, whether that problem be the stress or that you're tired or that you have a lot to do. I'd like to restructure it as suicide is a permanent problem to a temporary problem. And I think that's an important distinction, is that it is never a solution to take your life, even if it's those very few specific issues, like your Spanish test tomorrow might not exist, but then a whole world that you couldn't even imagine of issues is unveiled. So that's one thing we actually work to illuminate through the play. Is about a third of the play takes place all outside of the life of Sophia, so after the life. And it shows how the family falls apart, and it shows how nothing is fixed, and how the issue she was feeling is just heightened and then put onto everyone else, and it really tries to work in a way that works against the dialogue of suicide ever being even an option of this could fix something.
You use original songs between the scenes. You use, as I mentioned, home movies. You use text, you use statistics, things like that. But is the actual physical play on stage, is that your way of make sure that it's an entertainment for those who may not be accepting of sort of the more avant-garde
Yeah.
aspects of it.
Absolutely. There's definitely traditional storytelling in it, and it follows a very linear structure, so it's easy to understand what's happening. And it's my dad's not really a theater guy, and he can sit there and be engaged in it. And we actually, the stage acting resembles more of like a movie. So it's not as theatrical and it's not as larger than life because we have these other elements that provide the theatricality and heighten the emotion in other ways. Then the people on stage can be just really realistic. And I think that's one of the things that's striking about this show and compelling, is because you see people that look like the people you know and talk like the people you know, and the words are very, very just colloquial and comfortable.
I could take a nap, but killing myself would be more productive. Has already been performed in Arizona and California, and you're in New York City as we speak, and we'll be at the Fringe Festival and other locales here in Kansas City the 13th through the 28th. 5 involved with the Fringe Festival, and that will be at the Center for Spiritual Living downtown, and all these things will be able to be accessed. Nap the play is the best way to do it, but you're also at the Church or the Resurrection, Blue Valley North as well, and the Spring Hill Middle School.
Yes.
This provides different areas of engagement for people that, you've got a spiritual side, obviously, and then, younger kids maybe in a middle school setting, and then high school. I mean, all these things are super important, obviously.
Yeah, it was really important to me that accessible theater was something we paid attention to, and the audience that we were reaching out to. So the show at Church of the Resurrection is completely free of charge, and then both the core show and the Blue Valley North show, since there's a specific outreach to families and to younger audiences, will have counseling staff available during and after the show. So those two specifically were created with the idea of this high school family outreach. And we put an age limit as 13 and up, and again, it's parents' discretion, but it's really weighted material. But that idea is that everyone can find the show they're most comfortable in, and there's the larger venues for people who need to maybe sit in the back and be a little separated from it, and then there's more intimate venues, like at Blue Valley North and at the Fringe Festival for people who want to feel that energy.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way, and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913-752-2256.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
I was duped, and I recommend you be next. For better or worse, the ultra-realistic impression of me sits now in my wife's office to spook her on a daily basis. So what is Doob? D-O-O-B. It's the keepsake of a lifetime, a 3D-generated, incredibly lifelike figurine. 66 cameras take an image at exactly the same moment in any pose, and state-of-the-art 3D technology transforms that into exact replicas of you, anyone you know or love, a pet, whomever is close to your heart. Create lifetime memories with a Doob. Visit their Facebook page at Doob 3D Kansas City, or better yet, see their incredible creations. Visit their location down on the plaza in the heart of it at 231 West 47th Street in KC Mo. Doob, be next. Welcome back to Arts and Lifestyles Wednesday. It's brought to you by the Exit Room of Lee Summit, presented by them. And our guest today is LaurenSage Browning, a Blue Valley and Blue Valley Southwest attendee who now goes to the California Institute of the Arts. And we're talking about her play, I Could Take a Nap, but Killing Myself Would Be More Productive. So as producer, entrepreneur, actress, etc., it sounds to me like it's a pretty stressful life, to be honest, but how did you reach out to the venues? How did that process go? You've been in Flagstaff, Arizona. Yeah. Obviously, you're going to be in Boulder, Chicago. Mm-hmm. These are, big places, and, with a lot of people probably competing to have access to them.
It's actually been kind of funny because I did it all over the phone and over email because I was in class during it all. Most of it was done during finals week. So none of these people know that I'm 21 and they're all meeting me right now. So it's kind of funny when I show up and they're like, oh, but it really was just a lot of research, and I'm a nerd. So that was the easy part. It was just finding the theaters, and then different application processes for all of them. So Fringe festivals were all separate applications, and sometimes those show descriptions or sending scripts, various things. And then the other shows in the other cities, some of it we did a high school outreach in Arizona, so we worked with their arts high school there and actually auditioned their high school actors and plugged in one of them to the show so we could work on some emotional education and playwriting and stuff with them as well. And then we're doing a playwriting workshop in Colorado with one of the universities there. So some of it was finding partners in that way. And then the other ones, there were just dream locales to do this, theaters that would house the right kind of work and the right kind of audiences. So Off-Broadway was really important, obviously, just because that is what a play needs that's one of the latter steps, to get to a place of influence and of audience reach. And so that was an application through a separate thing, which then routed us there. It was basically a lot of paperwork that got us into theaters.
Well, and you're involved also with an organization called Keep the Spark Alive.
Yes.
You talked about having counselors and everything else. That's another part of the outreach that you obviously are having to do by yourself. But talk a little bit about Keep the Spark Alive.
So Keep the Spark Alive is our premier sponsor and partner throughout this whole process. And they've actually been with us since the very beginning of putting anything on stage. So we did a workshop of the play last fall at CalArts. And Keep the Spark Alive has been involved since then. And it was really important for me to bring an organization in, and specifically an organization that had firsthand experience. So Sylvia and Nathan, the founders of Keep the Spark Alive, both lost their son. So they really understand this issue and were able to provide a sense of security in the message that we're telling. So like I was saying earlier, since we're all young, we're all under the age of 23, we have our perspective. But then the other voice I wanted to include and make sure that was heard in this is, are we telling the right story? Are we telling a story that'll save lives and keep people here instead of anything else, and really make sure it was articulate in the message? And so they helped us through reading the script and through finding counselors and resources for the cast as well, because these are all young kids going through a very emotional process. And so they've been great in finding different ways to really ensure that this is at its core activism, social change, and a suicide prevention project.
At the KC Fringe Festival and other locations, you seem so inspired in this regard. Do you have designs on this play becoming something bigger so that it can help more people?
That's a question that people have been asking, and quite honestly, I don't think I've had time to even get there yet. It hasn't been a year since the first draft was written, July 27th was the night the show was written. So it's been snowballing, but I do have desires. I can't say I have concrete plans yet, but I have desires, which often